magic in the air.
Hey guys, welcome to Jammin' and Jammies. I'm Megan Barker. If you don't know what Jammin' and Jammies is, it's a live show that happens here in Nashville. We feature hit songwriters and rising artists in their pajamas. Right now we're doing everything via live stream on our Instagram on Sunday nights at 8 p.m. Central, so make sure you tune in. And while we're all hanging out in our pajamas at home a little more, we thought it would be fun to sit down with some of our favorite songwriters and ask them questions, pick their brain. So today we are lucky enough to have Mr. Andrew Rollins, who is a Jammie veteran at this point. He's been on Jammies quite a few times. He's an Emmy award-winning songwriter. He's had numerous songs on the TV show Nashville. You've also heard his songs on Netflix series The Ranch, General Hospital, The Amazing Race, and so much more. So let's welcome him. Hi, Andrew. How are you doing?
Hi, Megan. How are you?
Good. It's really good to see you.
Good to see you. It's been a while.
Yeah, and you're out in sunny LA right now. Is it sunny today?
Well, yesterday it was 82. It was beautiful yesterday, but today it's overcast and about low 50s.
We'll take it. We'll take it.
Yeah.
Do you want to just start by telling everyone a little bit about you, where you're from, and your musical background and all that?
I grew up in Shaker Heights, Ohio. It's a small town outside of Cleveland. Let's see. Have been in music since I was knee high. My parents were both musicians, so it was kind of a prerequisite. Started out on violin and piano, and got a. You want me to like zip through the whole thing for you, or
whatever you want? I think it's fascinating. I want to know all about you.
Okay, so music was from the time I was 4 on. I had music lessons like 2 or 3 times a week, and then I got a partial scholarship to major in music. Went to a college out west.
How did you get into songwriting then?
I'll tell you. I was playing in different clubs around town in Cleveland, the Cleveland area. And one night this guy, in fact, when I won my Emmy last year, he was the last person I thanked, because he walked in and he was sitting at the bar, and I went on break, and I walked over to him, and he said, "You know, you're really a good songwriter." I said, "Well, thanks, man." And he goes, "But I could show you how to be a great songwriter." And I thought, well, wow, who's this guy?
Yeah.
Anyway, so it was Eric Carmen. And Eric Carmen was from a band called the Raspberries, and then he became a solo artist, and one of his greatest songs is All by Myself.
Wow.
And so he kind of took me under his wing, and like every day or a couple times a week, I would go over his place and would sit down, and he'd give me like assignments like, I want you to rewrite If I Fell by the Beatles. Use those chords, but you can't step on the melody. And so he'd give me all these little assignments for writing.
Wow.
And so after about, I'm sorry?
I just said, wow, I just think that's amazing.
Yeah, it was amazing. It really was. It was, for a young guy to have someone like that. And at that time, he was like a superstar. He had just had All by Myself. Well, no, that had been a few years earlier, but he had a lot of hot hits. Never Gonna Fall in Love Again, The Dirty Dancing, Hungry Eyes. He was like great. He's a great songwriter.
Yeah.
So anyway, we went in the studio and recorded a couple tunes, and he sent it to a couple people, and then I had met a guy in Cleveland that wanted to manage me, and he was just like kind of a fan. He was a lawyer. And so he said, "I'm moving out to LA." And I said, "Well, you know what? That's kind of a big leap, to just pack up everything, leave your family, everybody, and move to LA," because I had never been to LA. And so anyway, what I did was we had sent it to A&M Records in LA. And a guy named David Anderley, who was a big record guy, sent me a letter and he said, I can't give you a record deal, but I can give you a development deal if you come to LA. But we won't give you any money, but we'll help develop you. So I had this friend that wanted to be my manager who lived in my building, and he said, come on, let's move out to LA. And so I just packed everything I had and moved to LA and started working with David Anderley. But at that time, in the like early to mid 80s, the music business was like really in a weird thing. It was going from like stuff like the Eagles to not grunge, but and I was like really this ballad kind of guy, like a Jackson Browne, Don Henley kind of guy, as far as my stuff goes. You've heard
Good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah.
And so there wasn't really a place for me. They weren't looking for that. They were looking for either the like Rick Springfield or Kajagoogoo or any of those like, what was that band where the guy did that song, I Ran? Well, I ran.
Oh, yeah.
And he had the hair that was like punk. It was like kind of a pop punk thing. And I didn't fit in any of those things. So I kind of like was not arrogant, but I thought, I'm out here, I'm really good, everybody should want to write, why aren't people signing me? That young artist attitude, I'm fantastic, too full of myself, thinking that I was better than anyone, which I wasn't. But anyway, you learn, as you spend time being in this business. And so my manager called me and he said, we've got a meeting. Oh, well, you've got a showcase. You've got to play at a place called Club Lingerie. It was a really cool club in LA. And so I played there, and there were two guys in there. There was a guy named Bob Feed, who was a big record guy, a guy named Joe Wizard, who produced Boss Skaggs' Silk Degrees, was a great record guy, and a guy named Danny Bramson. Now, Danny Bramson was this young guy that signed Tom Petty after Tom Petty's deal at ABC ran out. And he signed Walter Egan, who now lives in Nashville. And who else did he sign? A band called Men Without Hats. They did the song Safety Dance.
Yeah.
The song, you can dance if you want to.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Danny and I kind of hit it off right away. And so he wanted to have me involved with it. It was Universal. It was a label called Backstreet. And the guy that ran in Universal at that time was a guy named Joe Wizard, who was a great guy, great record guy, great producer, really loved the music business. Not just the business of music, just he loved music. And so we were getting ready to do my record. We finished it. I had a great band. And then they had a big power turnover at Universal where they fired everyone. And they took my record and they put it on the shelf. And the way my deal was structured is they didn't have to release it, but if they didn't release it, they had to pay me every quarter. They had to give me money. So every quarter I would go in there and get my check, and they'd go, hey, how you doing? And they'd give me my check. Well, that ended. They gave me my master's back. And then I'd just gotten this, I was like in my mid-20s, I think, at that time. And I just started thinking that it might be a good idea because I love being on stage, and I was good, but I wasn't like a Don Henley as far as that amazing voice. I mean, I can sing, but I'm not that, you know. I'm a really good writer, but I'm not that. I'm not like a Jackson Brown or Don Henley or,
Yeah.
and I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to be that front guy anymore, you know, in a band. And so I just started writing, and a friend of mine called me and he said, "Hey, have you thought about writing music for TV and film?" I said, "Well, you know, how hard could that be?" And I said, "Yeah, you know, what do you got?" And he goes, "Well, I have this TV show that needs a theme song." And I said, "Okay, when do you need it by?" He goes, "I need it by this afternoon." And so it was for a TV show called The Uglies. D.L. Hughley was a comedian that had a show on the ABC, and it ran for 8 years. Anyway, what happened, they called me that afternoon. They said they love it. DL loves it. We're sending the contracts over.
Wow.
So in like 8 hours, I had a theme to a national TV show.
Unbelievable.
So I went, wow, this is easy. let me try and, you know, let me follow that path. So I had a TV show that I did a bunch of music for on HBO called, you probably watched it when you were a little kid, Happily Ever After.
Yeah.
I wrote a bunch of music for that. Did some movies. And then just, you know, I developed that as a songwriter. But my background, and I can go back, is you know, was classical and, you know, like Broadway. I loved Broadway when I was a kid. My mom used to take me to a lot of plays and stuff. But my grandfather loved country music.
Oh, wow.
And he loved like Charlie Pride and George Jones and Johnny Cash. And so I always heard, every time my grandfather was very instrumental in my upbringing. And every time I go over to his place, he'd be out working, and he'd have like this great music on, you know. And I always loved country because country, not that pop doesn't tell a story, but it was like, it hit your heart.
Yeah.
You know, like, you know, He Stopped Loving Her Today, and you know, even the kind of comical songs like You Ain't Woman Enough, you know,
Yep.
My Man, those kind of things. And then I would like listen to Hank Williams and not Junior, Hank Williams.
Yeah.
And I would like, you know, he had been dead for decades, but I really loved, you know, like Your Cheating Heart and John Belay and all that stuff. It was just amazing to hold on a second. Randy Jackson.
Yo, Rollins.
Hey, I'm just doing a Zoom interview with an amazing singer in Nashville named Megan Barker. Say hi.
Hey, Megan, what's going on?
Hi, Mr. Jackson. How are you?
Mr. Jackson, it's been a while since you've heard that, huh?
I think I was looking great when somebody said, hello, Mr. Jackson.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll call you back after I finish this.
All right, peace.
All right, bye.
Thank
So
you.
anyway, what did you say?
Thank you for that.
Oh, absolutely. So anyway, I went to, you know, I came to Nashville, and this was 2007, I think, 8. It was a while, over 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And he introduced me to a couple different people, and then I just started doing the thing, man, networking with people, and got really, I loved it because I love songwriting.
Yeah.
I love being in the studio because I also score. I love doing that, but my passion is sitting down and creating a song.
Yeah.
You know, and then imagining the person that can sing that song.
Yeah.
You know, and So in doing that, I developed all these relationships, and it took me like 6-7 years, you know, and I just kept going. But every other month, I told my wife, I said, look, I really want to make an attempt to be successful in writing country music. And she said, okay. So I said, every other month, I'm going to go to Nashville for a week. And so I did that. And I kept doing that and kept doing that and kept doing that, to where it wasn't my home, but it was like it is my second home.
Yeah.
I have some, you know, there's Terry Jo Box, there's Blue Foley. There's so many people that I have relationships, Ashley McBride, Lee Brice, that, you know, I'm really kind of like not a local, but
yeah, it is your home away from home. Yeah.
Yeah. And so then I wrote with a couple of friends of mine, Jada Dreyer and Corey Mayo. I don't know if you know Corey, but he's an amazing songwriter, and Jada's just, you know, she won that show. I can't even think what it was called. But we wrote this tune, and we sat down and we said, because all our friends were getting cuts on this new show called Nashville.
Yeah. It
was the first season. And I said, let's write a song for the show Nashville. And so we were sitting there, and I can't remember who said it, but somebody said, let's write about this town. And so at that point, I sat down and I started playing this figure. And it was just this. It was just. And I think Jada said, like, well, hold on to the feeling that's so strong, to the ground that you walk on is where you stand. And so we wrote that, and then the chorus was, this town ain't yours, this town ain't mine. We all come here with the light in our eyes. Some will burn out, some will burn bright, some learn to fly, some will run for their lives. From this town, oh, this town. So we wrote that. We did a little demo of it. And I was flying back to LA, and I upgraded to first class. I had a bunch of points, and I said, I'm going to upgrade to first class. So I upgraded to first class, and this girl sits down next to me, and she happened to be involved with the show Nashville.
No way.
Yeah. And so Jada's publisher had sent it right away because they thought it was a great song. Because it speaks the truth about what Nashville, this town ain't yours, this town ain't mine. We all come here with a light in our eyes. Some will burn out, some will burn bright, some learn to fly, some will run for their lives from this.
True. Yeah.
Nashville scares the hell out of a lot of people, And so, we kind of nailed it on the head of what Nashville was about.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I was talking to this woman, and she was like the head of casting for Nashville. And I played her this song on my phone. And I didn't know she worked for Nashville. There was no mention of that. It was just somebody else.
You were just playing her a song?
Yeah, I do that a lot. Do you ever do that on a plane? You ever go, somebody talks to you and says, well, what are you doing? I'm a songwriter. And they go, oh, you have anything I can hear?
Yeah, I guess you're right.
And so I played it for her, and she said, do me a favor, email that to me. And so we get off the plane, say goodbye, and 2 days later, I get a phone call from Frankie Pine. Frankie Pine is the music supervisor on Nashville. And now at the same time, Jada's publisher had sent that to them. And then the woman that, Jeannie Backrack, that was a casting person, had given the song to Frankie.
Okay.
So it was like we kind of double teamed it
Yes.
without knowing it, you know?
Yeah.
Frankie loved it. And she said, I love it. We're going to use it for a montage
Yeah.
during the show, and it's going to play from start to the end.
Wow.
And I just went, wow. And she said, will you do me a favor? Will you send me anything else you have that you think would work for the show? And I said, okay. So I just started buying her stuff. So I think I hit her with like 20 songs. It just like kind of, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it just like, it was crazy. And it was not, it was that you call it luck, you can call it whatever. But it was a way that kind of like cemented me in that.
Well, you were prepared when opportunity presented itself. You know, you had a bunch of
Right.
material. Yeah. Can you take us inside your songwriting process?
Yeah. What do you want to know?
Just in general. I mean, on a daily basis, are you writing for a specific project, or do you get to write just to write anymore?
You know what? I carry around my phone, and Randy Jackson is like one of the most amazing songwriters I've ever worked with. And I've known him for 25 years. And people know him from American Idol,
yeah,
and being in Journey. But Randy is probably one of the most successful session guys you'll ever. I mean, he played with a guy named Jean-Luc Ponty, and Herbie Hancock. And
wow.
I mean,
I didn't know that.
He's a phenomenal musician. But anyway, also aside from having that talent and being dog on American Idol, he comes up with these lines that are unbelievable. And so he'll say something and I'll go, we're going to write that. And we'll do that. And we've written like 3 songs that way in the last, actually since the COVID-19 thing has happened.
Yeah.
So a lot of times I was going through some trouble with my marriage years and years ago. And I was like, we were at this point where, you know, our kids had grown up and some things happened and people change, you know, and so I looked at my wife and I said, you know, are we going to make it through this? And I'm really sharing intimate stuff.
I love
she
it.
looked at me and she said, time will tell. And so I sat down and I wrote this song called Time Won't Tell. And what, you know, and it was like, time won't tell me how to unfeel your kiss, how to,
Wow.
you know, those things are never going to go away, you know? And so that inspired me to write that song. And I walked around my backyard with a guitar and I just wrote, don't tell me, we'll find out in time. You may change your mind. Don't tell me, time will tell. And then, you know, so there's inspiration from the heart.
Yeah.
And there's just inspiration when you hear a great line and you go, I'm going to write that.
Yeah.
You know?
They all come together kind of. Can you tell us what you're doing with Randy Jackson? What are you guys working on?
Oh, well, Randy and I are developing, well, we're starting a publishing company, and something we've always wanted. I've known Randy for 25 years. He's one of my dearest friends. And we decided to start a publishing company because the main thing we wanted to do was start a company and have it be fair for writers.
What a concept.
Not saying that publishers aren't fair, But some have, been known not to be.
Yeah.
And we also decided to start a TV show,
Okay.
a new TV show. And so we were like beginning our production process when all this stuff happened, So that part of it has been kind of been put on the back burner. But like I said, this too shall pass, and we'll all be, we'll all be over it. So yeah, that's what we're doing.
It's exciting. I can't wait to hear what happens on the other side of all this craziness. Well, it's exciting. Are you going to be still coming back and forth to Nashville, or are you kind of
Actually, Randy and I were supposed to be playing the Bluebird May 1st.
Oh,
yeah, and
hopefully that'll be rescheduled soon.
Yeah, it will be. I talked to Erica about a week ago, and she said as soon as we're up and running.
Okay, well, let me know so I can get first dibs and buy a ticket, okay? Because I'm coming to that show.
Hey, I might even ask you to play. Anyway, so
don't threaten me with a good time. I'll be there.
But anyway, so yeah, my songwriting process is I make it a point of writing something every day.
Yeah.
Just like I make it a point of playing guitar probably 2 or 3 hours a day because I love it, and just get better, doing what you do. But I think there's a discipline in it. I make it a point of doing it every day and trying to get better at it. Because when you hone your craft, you can only get better at it.
Yeah.
And if you're not getting better at it, go do something else.
Yeah. Well, okay, real quick, let me just ask you a couple more quick questions. Just for people who don't have any connections in the sync world, what is the first thing they can do you think, to just get their foot in the door? Because it really is a whole other world of connections and people in charge and stuff.
There's a lot of things that you can do. I think persistence is the key.
Okay.
It's like that old saying, the squeaky wheel gets the grease,
Yeah.
Not to being like creepy or stalkery, but just be confident with what you have and try to meet the people. I mean, look, in this day and age, you can find out how to get a hold of people.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And the thing is, you just have to sell yourself. As songwriters, we're salesmen. We're trying.
Yeah.
And whether it's if somebody likes you or, thinks that, I mean, I've heard from pluggers that the relationships they build with record companies and producers and stuff is usually because they like them.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Would you say that you need to have your recordings ready for TV for every opportunity, or are there cases where you just have a work tape and you send that?
Dude, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to call you dude.
No, I love it.
When we got This Town, it was me playing a guitar figure and Jada singing a vocal.
So when they said, can you give us some backstory? Like, how long did you have to throw the recording together? And,
we recorded that song on a Friday. The following Thursday.
Wow.
Yeah. But that never happens. That was the thing with the stars lining up absolutely perfect. When I got the Uglies TV show, which ran for 8 years, I wrote it I wrote it at 12 o'clock in the morning, and I sent it to the guy at 8 o'clock that night. The next morning they had contracts over. The day after that, I had a check.
Wow.
I mean, that kind of stuff. Yeah, that doesn't happen.
Okay.
But it's like, believe in what you're doing. I mean, look, I think if you find someone that believes in what you're doing, like a good plugger that's not in it for the money.
Yeah.
you know, that believes in you as a songwriter. And of course, you're going to have to give them something.
Yeah.
But if you make those connections, you know, like I always say this, and Randy and I always say this, you know, 40% of something is better than 100% of nothing.
Amen.
You know?
Yeah. Wow. I love
Yeah.
it. Do you want to just answer a quick few quarantine questions for us? And then,
Oh yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. Do you have a favorite artist you've worked with, or favorite experience you've had?
Favorite artist I've worked with. I would have to say Graham Nash.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Um, since this is pajama themed, pancakes or French toast?
Oh wait, I have to. Graham Nash and Joe Walsh. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay.
Good one. Okay.
All right. So go ahead. Quarantine. What?
Since we're wearing pajamas, breakfast theme, pancakes or French toast?
Are those the only two choices?
What's your favorite breakfast then?
An emergency orange juice with a piece of toast.
You're so LA. You're so healthy.
No,
I bet you're going for a hike after this.
no, I'm not.
Okay.
No.
What's your favorite quarantine snack right now?
Triscuits with cottage cheese.
Oh, I'm gonna try that. That sounds good.
It's so good. Triscuits, cottage cheese, and garlic salt.
I'm gonna try that literally tonight. I have all of that at the house.
Amazing.
Okay. And then last question, what's one song you think everyone should go listen to right now, old or new? That's a tough one. Do you want to play something? Do you want to play something for us?
Can you hear that?
Yeah.
What should I feel about something I've never felt? Who's gonna tell me the words I should say? Can this be the moment I waited for? 'Cause it's not like me to lose my way. I'm not sure of all you want. Well, slow down quickly and take me easy. We're just starting now. I've always struggled when trouble been too free. I'm used to taking the easy way. If you're what I need, I won't run away. 'Cause I know you see through all of me, the good, the bad, the in between. Slow down quickly and take me easy. We're just starting now. Let me catch my breathless feelings Now I understand just who I am. Just who I am. Ooh. Slow down quickly. Take me easy. We're just starting now. And let me catch my breathless feelings. Now I understand just who I am. Just who I am.
Yeah. I love
I
that
don't know what the
song.
sound quality was like on that.
No, it was great. And I just love that chord change on the bridge. I just think it's brilliant. I love that.
Oh, going to the two sus.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's so pretty. Well, thank you so much for all of your insight today and spending some time with us during quarantine. We'll check in with you again, I guess, when this is all over and you and Randy can give us an update on your plans and everything you're working on.
So, in closing, stay safe, wash your hands, and I've found these, which you can't find anywhere in the world. It's like, for like weeks, I couldn't find these.
You're probably sitting on $1,000 box of Clorox wipes right now.
I know I have 3 of them too.
Oh my goodness. Well, be safe and thank
I
you
will.
for hanging out with us.
Love to everybody. Nashville, stay safe.
We'll see you later.
Bye.
Jammie and Jammie's magic